On today's show, Luka Doncic and Slovenia get a huge win against Germany in the Eurobasket. What does it mean? And is Luka Doncic the best player in the world? He sure played like it. We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good!
And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Engstead, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Letting it ride on a Wednesday. Let it ride. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to comment anything below. Let us know what you think about that win. What you think about that Slovenia win? Is Luka Doncic the best player in the world? Some people were saying that, Isaac. Some people were saying that.
Some
people were saying that. Joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer at Mavs.com, the Slovenian Sultan, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Hey, we don't get to say that one guy who complains about the outro music is pissed at you right now.
There's another person that came out and said, turn the music back up. It's not loud enough now.
Oh, wow. Battle it out.
They're battling it out in the comments.
It's not too often that we get to say in the month of September that we're covering a big time win, but that was a big win. That was relative, of course, but Germany undefeated so far in Eurobasket to pull off that win. I found myself hyped for a basketball game, and I don't find myself that hyped for a basketball game in September very often.
Yeah, and let's put this win into context, right? Like, Luka has not lost a game in Eurobasket except for that Bosnia-Herzegovina game last time. So they were like the big dog, right? Like they were the team that people were looking towards as the to knock off, right? Because they won it last. All this.
I'd say they're a handful of teams. I wouldn't say
there's a couple teams like that.
Yeah.
But for most of the games that they've played, they were that team. And so it's not like this incredible once-in-a-lifetime. Like the way that Bosnia-Herzegovina were celebrating their win against Slovenia, that sort of told a lot about how they felt about it. Where I saw people tweeting like, guys, like Nurkic, act like you've been there before, man. Like
little Pat Beverley on the scores table.
Just a little bit. But this was a big win because Eurobasket is in Germany. You're playing against. I mean, it was basically like an away crowd for Slovenia. There was a section there you could hear me Slovenci. Like you could hear the crowd. Like I don't know if they were going full out. Like they were. Like
don't get us going.
I don't know if they were going full out on that. But you could hear them. There's a section of them. But this was an away game for Slovenia, and they needed this win because they're a really tough group. This group that they're in is so tough that they're in. You look at Group A in Eurobasket, and it's the top four in each group like continue on to the tournament, right? And so you look at Group A has Spain in there. It's like fine. That one, that's a good team.
Fine.
Turkey, fine. Montenegro, Belgium, Bulgaria, Georgia. And none of those teams I'm like really getting hyped about. Group B, Germany, Slovenia, France, Bosnia, Lithuania has 2 NBA players on it, right? Like that's a really tough group that they're in. And
hungry.
And I am hungry right now, actually. But that's a really tough group that they're in. And so they need some of these wins to get the best positioning. And now that they've beaten Germany, they're tied for number one, or they're in second right now because of the points scored. I think is the second tiebreaker there. But yeah, now now they're second in it, so which is huge for them.
Do we have a Built Bar ad today?
I do.
Oh yeah, this is perfect. You got to set up hungry and tie it in. You have to.
Okay, I think you're cool.
Let the dad do the ads, all right? We will sell.
I'll give you a signal. I'll give you a signal today, and then you can do the ad, all right? You can lead right into it if it really means that much to you today.
All right, I'm done. Pod's over. I'll be back for the ad break. Just let me know.
Let the dad do the ads. Amazing. Put that in the comment section. Anybody that's here, let the dad do the ads. Let's start that. Anybody that wants to see Isaac do more ad reads, put it in.
You know what? I put the ads in dads.
As long as you put, hey, we're both putting the abs in dads. That's for sure.
My wife's laughing right now.
But this game, what it came down to, fourth quarter, it kind of got to a close back and forth game a little bit. Like they were going back and forth a little bit. Slovenia pretty much had a lead most of this game. It came down to Luka, and it came down to Luka just dominating every single player on Germany's team. No one could stay in front of him. No one could stop him. And even if you could stay in front of him, you couldn't stay close enough to him to stop him for very long. So fourth quarter, 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Slovenia is up 69-64.
Nice.
And it's a 5-point game, which is like, okay, that's 2 buckets probably, right? And so you're not thinking that that's too much, but it's momentum started to go back in Germany's decision. Luka, post up on Tiemann, who's like 6'9". He's kind of their Germany's center. He's the biggest guy on their team, right? Like he's the biggest, strongest guy on their team.
Nice pronunciation.
And the only, thank the broadcaster that said it. And he was the only guy that had any chance of muscling Luka in any way on Germany, at least I think. Luka posts him up and just pushes him right off his spot, gets him off balance, turns around, fadeaway shot. An incredible response to that from Luka. Yeah. Next possession, Luka bodies Tiemann again in the paint, scores over top of him, like pushes him right off his spot on the post, scores over top of him. Next possession for Slovenia. Luka shakes Tiemann right off him, puts up the shot. He misses the really nice looking shot, but Toby puts it back in. All of a sudden, they're up by 9. Timeout. Come out of timeout. Luka hits a step back 3. It's a 12-point game. Like that run right there is just like, it just embodies Luka, what he can do to your team, especially if you don't have an answer for him, which most teams don't have.
Yeah, and he's just laughing the whole time. Yes. You know, like he's laughing, he's sticking out his tongue. I think this is before the
Schroder run
Dennis,
that he won.
The Dennis Schroder experience of, hey, for some reason we're going to put Dennis on Luka, which Luka just literally laughed off. But it was, as weird as it is to call it like vintage Luka because Luka's so young, like I think we can already do this. Like we can already say, oh, that's vintage Luka right there as a young 20-something-year-old. But it was, I mean, like you said, for him to finish 36 in this game, you know, by far his biggest, you know, Eurobasket game so far in this tournament. Year, this year, but 12 of 17, you know, 14 of 25 from the field, 2 of 8, you know, from 3 in this game. But the dude could just, I mean, obviously it's going to look a little bit different in the NBA probably, but it feels like once he gets mid-range, it's just over.
We've seen this in the NBA, though. We've seen him get mid-range in the NBA and it be over, right? I mean, that's how they really went on some of these runs. When he gets that mid-range going, it doesn't matter who's in front of him. NBA player, Eurobasket player.
I know, it just feels a little bit more polished right now. And I don't know, I mean...
His mid-range game does?
Yeah, the mid-range stuff. I don't know if it's just more... I don't know. I could be wrong. It just feels like he's more confident, more polished, more smooth. The fadeaways, the moves. It's like... just get me in this area and there's nothing you could do to stop it.
Well, at least in the NBA, we didn't really see that mid-range game his first 2 years, right? We really didn't see it a lot. And he started adding it the third year. And then this past year, like it really just came out and you could just really tell that he had been working on it. That Dirk fade, like I remember when we first started to see the Dirk fade where you're saying, oh dang, like if he adds that and all of a sudden, you know, he hits the shot in the actual shadow of Dirk on the court in the AAC, where you're like the classic photo of him making the same shot that Dirk did that makes it look like it's his shadow. And he slowly added that, but I agree with you that it does look more polished. It looks like he's worked on it more.
No hook shot yet.
We haven't seen the hook shot since the friendly games.
Yeah, a little disappointed.
I'm missing the hook shot, but the turnaround fades, like you're saying, when he bodies somebody in the post, puts a shot over him, or we can just turn around and fade and hit that. Like those are just ones that take you to another level as an NBA player. But coming up,
I want to talk about, Slovenia is in a really tough group right now. But one team that's not very tough in this group is Hungary. And you know what I like to do when I think about Hungary? I like to think about Built Bars. If you want to go to built.com, and is it even built.com?
Yes, it is.
If you want to go to built.com and look up some flavors, not for the country of Hungary, but that feeling inside your stomach whenever you're hungry, we have a solution for you.
Isaac, do they have turkey flavored Built Bars?
They do not. No turkey flavor. But you know what flavor they do have?
Georgia? I don't know.
Coconut brownie chunk.
Oh, let's go.
That's pretty good.
I'm in on that.
You, like Luka Doncic, like to puff on the puffs. The puffs are great. Or you could like the standard candy bars like mine. Like the ones I like. All right. You can go back. You can take the ad read now. You have it in front of you. I don't have it in front of me.
Hashtag dads do the ads. Dads do the ads. There you go. It's Built Bar. Use the promo code locked on. Use the promo code locked on 15 to get 15% off your entire order. It's built.com. Get them if you're hungry.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I'm
proud of you.
All right, Isaac. Incredible. If you skip the ad read, go back. It's worth your time. Believe me. If you skip the ad read, go back. Hashtag dads do the ads. So Luke, we saw Luka just pull off this incredible run. So we talk about the run that gave him the 12-point lead. Then he starts making the run on Schroder, right? 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Post up on Schroder, scores over him, flexes right on him. It's a what is it? It's 11-point game at that point. 3 minutes. Luka post up on Schroder out of an inbound. He hits a shot over him. He shakes his head and kind of does the Luka like it's over for you. Like, you know, when he Slightly Biased had a great TikTok about this today where he's like, if you ever find yourself in a situation where Luka is shaking his head, not like up and down or side to side, but like left and right, where his head is like bobbing back and forth and he's smiling like mischievously at you, you're cooked. Like it's just done. You're just done. Like, he got him over there. Then he fouled out Tice right after that move too. And then like Germany started to come back a little bit. They hit a couple of threes. It was a 5-point game again with like a minute 50 left.
Yeah.
Germany gets the ball. Schroder drives. Luka chases him down and blocks it. Blocked by Luka.
Nasty.
Not the block by James, but blocked by Luka. And then he just that just ended it, right? Because it was at that point, it's a 6-point game, minute 30 left. The momentum was back in Slovenia's, and they just took it. They took it from there. But all those plays, I mean, how many plays did I just rattle off there over the course of this show so far? Like 7 or 8 plays. Just clutch, must needed plays that Luka just came to town and like took over.
Yeah. He flexed after the block too. It was funny hearing the announcers call this game because they clearly, at least one of them clearly did not like Luka's antics of the complaining to the refs. Aww. Some of the stuff later on, like he was just saying these like little jabs. I'm like, bro, you would not last the whole season with Luka at all. Like, I mean, just different things of like, Luka was complaining later on in the game, and then he missed the free throw. But before he missed the free throw, he was like, well, you have to make this free throw if you're going to like, and then he missed the free throw. And then he kept on taking these little
They
jabs.
kept saying stuff like that. Like, you got to make this free throw. I'm like, they have like a 7-point lead. Like, I don't think he has to make this free throw here.
I was just, and then the whole like,
it's for sure not going to change his confidence. If that's what you're trying to point at. Like, that wasn't going to get shaken today.
The second Schroder, a little dust up there, you know, where he had to exit the game, and tough day for Schroder, tough day for potentially future teammate Schroder, you know, to play against Luka here, just to get blocked, get torched in the post. And then like Luka, you know, trying to like calm him down after that.
Yeah. And then the dust up.
And the announcer's like, yeah, typically you don't see a guy trying to calm down the other teammate. I'm like, all right, dude, it's clearly you don't.
Luka was like, dude, bro, you wanna fumble the bag again? Like, come on.
Listen, calm down. I'll see you in a few weeks. We'll work it out then.
Schroder, 19 points, 5 assists. He was 7 of 17 from the field, 3 of 10 from 3. Only 1 turnover in this game. But your thoughts on, did anything change over your thoughts about bringing in Schroder after all that happened? Luka flexing on him, all that, the dust up at the end. Anything change about you wanting to bring him on to the Mavs?
No, I mean, if they did it for a minimum, I would be fine with it. Sure, I don't care. If they did bring him in, then it's like, I think it does make your team better because I do think he's better than
Talent.
Frank.
Yeah, talent.
Yeah, as a backup point guard. And if they do bring him in, then they're confident enough in the team chemistry stuff. But if they don't, then it's probably just purely about team chemistry. Can I have a mini conversation real quick about a topic we hardly ever talk about? Luka's body. So
I thought you were gonna ask me where I'm going to go when I die.
Let me tell you about Jesus. So I was watching Luka in the first quarter, and I'm like, obviously, everybody talks about Luka's shape and everything so much. Yeah. And I was watching him, I'm like, all right, you're not too skinny. All right. Like you're not like he's not in this. Yeah, I think when Eurobasket started, everybody's like, oh man, let's look what Luka looks like. He's gonna be slim Luka.
The angles of the photos that he takes, I swear.
And then I'm like watching him on the floor, and I'm like, all right, you don't look like a ton different. Like you don't look like you're in like crazy skinny shape.
No.
But then I find myself like watching him, and I'm like, all right, you can get to the basket at will.
Yep.
And I know this is like a dumb question thing, and it's like I know there's some people listening saying, dude, I've been saying this whole time. It doesn't matter. It's like if you could just limit the game to like one quarter or like a few possessions, then he is the best. Like if it's a one-on-one tournament, I'm picking Luka every single time against anybody in the entire world.
Does he have to play defense too?
Yes, but I'm still taking that but it's all about because I'm watching him in this game. I'm like, bro, like some of the people that they're putting on him are like bigger dudes. He's going right through them. And I'm like, the NBA, you're going to do the same thing. He's taking people off the dribble. He's getting to the basket at will. We're seeing all this. We know he has a step back three. That shot will go down. So I think you find yourself asking, or at least some people are watching this saying, dude, he's unstoppable. So why is the whole like getting in shape or skinnier and all this stuff? Why is that a conversation? And because I was asking myself the same thing that I'm like, have I been making this a big deal? Like too big of a deal? Because he's like flat out dominating. And I know it's not the NBA he's playing in right now, but it just comes down to, you see this when the in shape stuff matters when it's deep in the playoffs or it's the late fourth quarter in some of these long NBA games. And it's the second night of back-to-backs. It's all of that. That's when the in-shape stuff matters because, I mean, we've all seen it before. The first quarter, second quarter, when Luka's like this, there's literally nobody in the world that can guard him. But I don't know. I was thinking about it more this game for some reason than I have in the past.
You see it late in games. You see it on more so on defense than you do on offense. Right. And that's when it really catches up to you. That's when you can give a little bit more. You can put a little bit more into it. Like how many times have we argued or gone back and forth between ourselves or between us and other Mavs fans? He should have drove it at the end there instead of just like trying to bail himself out and take the step back three. And the step back three, that takes some legs. It's not like he doesn't have anything when he can hit and then he can just like lean back into a step back three. That doesn't happen. But maybe he could be a little bit more effective driving more often than he does taking these threes. Maybe, the defense is better late in games, which allows the Mavericks to play different players that allows them to, to do more on offense. Like there's just so many little things here and there. We all know the problem of the Mavericks problem is not Luka, right? So, but they just want to see what he could be. And you see that's that next level. We saw the leaked 2K ratings today. Or I guess they're leaked. They're on like the official 2K website. But there's a bunch of 96s at the top. And then there's Luka at a 95. And LeBron is in a 96. What was it? Durant, Jokic.
I don't understand how LeBron's still a 96.
Well, I'm going to tell you. So he's 96 because of athleticism. Because Luka, if you're going to go in 2K, I saw some people get up in arms about Luka being a lower number than LeBron. Well, it's all about, okay, I'm going to take this player, and if you're controlling the player, you don't have Luka's brain then. You have your own brain. And so that's what really makes Luka who Luka is, right? And that's what takes Luka to this next level. Remember these first couple of games in Eurobasket where his shot wasn't going down, but we saw his incredible passes. Like, you're not making those passes on 2K. You're gonna try, but like Luka can put the English and the spin on it and do different things and hit angles and windows that you're just not gonna hit because you're not him. You're not him. Himothy. Hemi Neutron. But that's the difference, I think, and that's what makes Luka a completely different player than somebody else. But yeah, and he's willing this Slovenia team, and I love watching this team every single time I get.
Yeah, and today they have another game. They play France, big time game. Could determine who wins this group. Maybe if Germany actually probably won't because
Germany's still up there. Germany, Slovenia, and France all at 3-1.
And I don't know how the tiebreakers work on this, but Germany plays Hungary next. So
yeah, that's I would say that one is a win for the Germans.
All right, coming up next, let's give a couple more shout outs for the Slovenia team because I got to give another a Luka teammate a shout out.
Oh, they all deserve it. We'll talk about that coming up. All right, Isaac Harris, we're continuing to talk about Eurobasket. Luka Doncic, incredible takeover. He's probably the best player in the world. He just took over in that.
Let me just casually drop. He's probably the best player in the world.
He's probably the best player, even though 2K doesn't think he is. But hey, here we are. Who else stepped up in this game? Well, first, very beginning of this game.
This is who I want to give a shout out to.
Slovenia versus Germany. Very beginning of the game. The ref throws the ball up in the air to do the tip ball, and Mike Tobey comes down on the ref's ankle. The ref stepped forward and didn't step back quick enough, and Tobey rolled his ankle.
Rigged.
On the ref's foot. The fix was in. I mean, let's be real.
Playing against Germany.
So then Mike Tobey, the Slovenia's center, leaves the game, and Dimec had to come in. And
my guy.
Your guy had to come in and replace him. But then, what was it? 5 minutes and 39 seconds, Tobey checked back in.
Yeah, shout out to the guy who commented on our YouTube channel saying that me and Dimec look like bears.
Both of you guys?
That. Yeah, I was like, okay.
There's multiple ways you could have taken that comment.
But I do want to give a shout out to Mike Tobey because the dude straight up rolled his ankle. I'm like, he's not going to come back into this game. And he comes back in the game and he actually plays 20-something minutes, 25 minutes basically in the game. I mean, he obviously wasn't healthy and all of that, but I mean, he battled through it and
they needed those minutes.
Yeah, he's the prime pick and roll guy for Luka, and he had 8 rebounds in this game. So had a block. I love when players play through injuries, and he did that.
Yeah, I love when guys get more hurt too. But yeah, Tobey was just an incredible.
You suck.
Also, shout out to anybody that's still laughing about the bear joke that I made earlier. You are, we can be friends. Mike Tobey, two threes in this game, 3 offensive rebounds. He was big. He had some really big plays in this game. And I don't know. They probably still win, but I don't know if they win as much as they did or as comfortably as they did without Mike Tobey. And it was great to see him come back and fight through that.
Yeah. Dragic obviously had a good game, 18 points.
Can we talk about Dragic starting?
Yeah.
What do you think about the change? This is his first start in the official Eurobasket play. He obviously had started some of the friendlies and the FIBA, the World Cup qualifying stuff, but this is his first real start. I thought it gave him a little bit of a punch, an offensive punch early, and I think that they thought they needed that against this Germany team.
Yeah, I mean, him and Luka play good together. I mean, they're going to finish games together, so we know that. They're 2 best players on the team. So to start them together, I mean, he played 32 minutes in the game, and I thought he looked good too. He had a couple drives that, it's like he knows how to create separation. He's always known how to do that, but he has that, little shoulder bump to create the space there in the paint and get his shot off. And I'm not gonna lie, I've fallen into the trap that I watch him and I'm like, dang it, you should.
We don't have to do this every time.
You should be a Mavs.
We don't have to do this every.
Well, good segue though into Mark Stein's report a few days ago that you mentioned of a couple that Mavericks could be looking into adding a veteran ball handler before training camp starts. Shocker. And then he actually threw out a few free agent names in that. And I'm not gonna lie, if they sign one of those free agent names, there's really no, I wouldn't blame fans at this point. If you were oh, so we passed up on Dragic to sign
Eric Bledsoe
or Dennis Smith Jr.
or Elfrid Payton. That was one of the names Mark Stein mentioned was Elfrid Payton, Dennis Smith Jr. Campazzo. Those are the 4 names.
Dragic is, in my mind, clearly better than all four of those.
I would agree.
Like hands down.
Yeah.
I think the next closest dude for me is Eric Bledsoe. Like I would sign Bledsoe hands down.
Of those, yeah.
Yeah, of the other guys. But yeah.
I would understand Mavs fans being upset about it too at that point. It just still goes back to the Mavs did talk to Dragic. They offered him a role, and apparently he did not like that role. And I think that Eric Bledsoe would take that type of role, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Once again, I think it makes sense in that type of role if they go out and they make a trade or they bring in somehow a clearly like better guy at that spot. But if they just go out and sign another ball handler to the degree of like a Dennis Smith Jr., and it's like they chose to do that over Dragic, then I would understand some of the fan backlash at that point for, treating the Dragic situation that way from what we know by the reporting. But if they go out and trade for, let's say they trade for a Mike Conley, and you could debate on like who's better, Conley or Dragic or whatever, but to trade for Conley, you're giving up some money, some other contracts. Yeah. It's like, all right, there's the trade aspect, swapping out some pieces. Then you do get a talented guy in Mike Conley to come off the bench, even though he's not what he used to be. Conley's going to be an expiring contract next year. So that's a $20 million expiring contract that you're like, oh man, we could really use that in a trade. We'll have our draft picks. So like you kind of get it at that point. You're like, all right, that makes sense. But when I saw those names, I was kind of bummed a little bit. I'm like, oh man, we're really going to go that route possibly.
The thing about that Mark Stein report, and I talked about it yesterday with Richard on the show, is he just mentioned names that were available. He didn't even write like that the Mavericks are looking at these names. Like these are other names that are available for the Mavs. And so to me that seemed more like, hey, let me do a solid for these players' agents and just like put their name out there in a thing that I'm writing, instead of the Mavericks are targeting Dennis Smith Jr., Eric Bledsoe, and Facundo Campazzo and Elfrid Payton, right? So yeah. I wouldn't connect them as much. Okay. Did I tell you my conspiracy theory from yesterday though?
Oh, tell me. Play the music.
I think the Mavs have an agreement with Schroder, and they're waiting on the Jazz stuff to shake out. And if they don't get Conley or Bojan or Clarkson, they're just going to sign Schroder.
Spicy.
And that's why he hasn't signed with anybody yet.
Okay.
That's my thought.
That makes sense. Schroder or Westbrook?
Russell? He's already dropped a dime to Patrick Beverley. Did you see that today?
I saw them dab up each other, and I'm like, somebody posted like
Patrick Beverley was like post workout doing his post workout media availability, I guess. Which how are they doing media already?
Post workout media okay, weird.
In early September, and he was like dripping sweat, and Russell Westbrook tossed him a towel, and Beverley took the towel and was like, first time of the year.
Wow. Okay. I'm not here for this team at all.
There's also a report that they have to have some tough. They'll definitely have to have some tough conversations. And what I want to know is that what's 30 for 34 if we're not doing a 30 for 30 on Westbrook and Patrick Beverley playing on the same team?
Can we finally get Hard Knocks for NBA?
Yeah. We've done the Lakers legacy show. Like, let's at least do a Lakers current show about what's going on there.
HBO, you had Winning Time.
We have the cameras. Who else? You know who else stood out to me in this? Back to the Slovenia Germany game.
Oh, full circle.
You know who else stood out? I guess. You know what stood out to me today?
What?
In that he didn't stand out at all is Franz Wagner. Like,
yeah,
I felt like that guy was just not playing in this game most of it. He finished with 8 points. He was 2 of 7 from the field. He hit 2 threes, and one of those threes was pretty big late down the stretch. But 4 fouls, 2 assists, 3 boards, 2 steals. Like, I just didn't feel like he made a real big impact in this game. And he's been really, really good for them. And in this Slovenia game, like, they just completely took him out of the game.
Yeah, because he had a really good game the other day. He had like 30-something points against Hungary or whoever it was, and it's like I was expecting a big game from him.
I was excited to see him play, and then I didn't really see him play very much.
I'm like, I forgot that you were on the floor. So
shout out to Daniel Tice fouling out 5 fouls in 17 minutes.
Yeah. Well, how do we know what team he's on now? So
in the NBA?
Yeah. I feel like he switched teams so many times. Somebody signed him this offseason.
He got traded from Houston back to the Celtics, right? So wasn't he on the Celtics?
No, here we go.
He was in the Schroder, like him and Schroder got traded for each other.
Okay.
Anybody else in Slovenia stand out?
No, they didn't. I mean, this is the Luka show. So
Chanchar's Paul George playoff P3 in the corner late in the game was
wow,
maybe the worst corner three that I've ever seen.
That didn't even hit the side of the backboard. That hit behind the backboard.
No, it barely didn't hit the stanchion. Incredible. All right, there you go. Let us know in the comment section below what your thoughts are about this Slovenia game. Do you think Slovenia is going to win this group? Let us know in the comments. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Go.